And we are live. What's going on, guys? Hopefully you're keeping well on this fine Friday evening or afternoon or morning, wherever you are in the world. Yeah, man, just a quick little live stream, talk some boxing. Quite a lot in the news recently in regards to boxing. Some positive news as well. Obviously, this week we learned that Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Usyk is set for September the 25th. Looking forward to that one. Let me just move this mic. There we go. Yeah, so Joshua Usyk set the 25th of September. Looking forward to it. Should be a great fucking fight. I think that's going to be a hard fight to call, in my opinion. So I'm looking forward to that one. Also, this week we heard about the WBO ordering Terence Crawford versus Sean Porter. Now, that's a great fucking fight. I don't see no reason why that fight should not happen. You know, Terence Crawford at this point in time doesn't really have any better options. In my opinion, his resume is lacking. And it needs somebody like Sean Porter on there. You know, Sean Porter would be Terence Crawford's best win. How many fights has Terence Crawford had now? Well over, what's it, like 35, 36? Something like that. So, and he's 33, 34 years old, man. So, you know, Crawford needs this sort of fight. And as for Sean Porter, it's a shot at a title. So the fight makes sense for both men. It's an intriguing match. So I say there's no reason why this fight shouldn't happen. So fingers crossed we get this fight between Terence Crawford and Sean Porter. A really good fight, in my opinion. Big up to Haitian Sensation. He's feeling Anthony Joshua right now. Brandon Blanco, thank you WBO for mandating Crawford versus Porter. Yeah, it's a fight I've been calling for quite some time, Brandon. I think it'll be very competitive. I see a lot of people out there picking Terence Crawford to knock out Sean Porter should it happen. I mean, I'm not picking against Sean Porter to get knocked out ever at welterweight. You know, the guy's got a very good chin, proven toughness. He's battle tested, and he always comes to fight. I would be surprised if Terence Crawford could knock out Sean Porter. I could see him dropping Sean Porter. You know how Sean Porter comes in, you know, quite reckless at times. You could see Terence Crawford maybe dropping him, but I can't see Crawford winning that fight by stoppage. If Crawford wins, it's on points, in my opinion. But it's a great fight, man. It's a great fucking fight. And obviously as well, at welterweight, we have Manny Pacquiao, Errol Spence coming up. Great fight. We have Virgil Ortiz versus Aegis Kavalauskas. Another really interesting fight. So, you know, the welterweight division right now, potentially, we could be getting some good fights. And the welterweight division, to me, has been stagnant for a little while now. So I welcome all of these fights, man. They need to happen. They need to happen. We got Rigondeaux versus Casemiro, Pacquiao Spence, Virgil versus Mean Machine, Valdez versus Cohen Sal, Figueroa Fulton, Joshua Usyk, Wilder Fury, and maybe Porter versus Crawford. What more can we ask for? Indeed, yeah, some good fights there. Haitian Sensation. Some good fights there. No doubt about it. And obviously, we've got Big Joe Joyce this weekend to look forward to. He's always fun to watch. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Yeah, man. I mean, we got some good fights coming up. Yeah, I've just cracked open a beer on a Friday. Why not? It'd be rude not to. Had a pretty good week. Just recorded. Well, I finished my video for the second channel. That's going to be up in a couple of hours whenever it gets uploaded. I've scheduled it, so that'll be uploaded soon. And yeah, man, it's going well, bruv. It's going well. That's why I've, crack open a beer. Big up to Felipe in the chat as well. Big up, Stelboy. Big up to yourself, man. I was in the Mad Chad panel yesterday and we talked about how would the Crawford-Porter fight go. And I said Porter is battle-tested and Crawford will have to fight tooth and nail to beat Porter. I agree. It's the sort of fight Crawford needs. At the end of the day, I think Terence Crawford is a good fighter. I think he's world-class. But ultimately, I've got no idea how good this guy is at welterweight. At welterweight, he's fought sort of B- level guys and shot fighters like Khan and Brook. You know, his resume at welterweight really isn't anything to write home about. So we've got no idea how Terence Crawford reacts when he fights a true top 5 welterweight. And that's exactly what Sean Porter is. So there's going to be questions asked of Terence Crawford in this fight. If he could go in there and get rid of Porter, that's a hell of a statement. I can't see it happening personally, but if Terence could knock out Porter, it's a big statement. What's your opinion on Sergey Derevyanchenko? Good fighter, but I think at this point in time, 34, 35 years old, coming off 4 real hard fights back to back, more than likely Sergey Derevyanchenko is done at the elite level. But, you know, he can be involved in some fun fights just below like elite level. Takam to KO Joyce with a body shot. That's a hell of a prediction there. I've got Joe Joyce either on points or a late stoppage. What do you think about Teofimo Lopez maybe dropping his IBF title? It would be a bad look. Haitian sensation. Basically, he's saying he doesn't want to go to Australia. Well, that's the risk you take when you go to purse bids. You know, Teo's promoter did not win the purse bid. It was Triller, and at first Teofimo was made up about the payday he was getting, but you know, things change. And if that fight has to happen in Australia, that's down on the promoter. They won the purse bids. They can do what they can do what they want. Sorry. So, yeah, I mean, if Teofimo drops his title, it's a bad look. It's a bad look. Listen, man, if Teo's not confident of beating Kambosos in Australia, then there's something wrong. Kambosos is not a world-class fighter, in my opinion. I don't think he beats any top 5, top 6 lightweight. Does he beat Lomachenko? No. Devin Haney? No. Ryan Garcia? No. Teofimo? No. I don't think he beats Richard Comey, to tell you the truth. I really don't. So, does he beat Gervonta Davis at 135? No. Kambosos is not a top 5 lightweight. He's not. Maybe he's not even a top 10 guy at lightweight. I don't rate him at all. So, yeah, I mean, if I was Teofimo, I'd be taking a little holiday to Australia, getting that big money and knocking Kambosos out. I don't see what the problem is. But, yeah, big up to Felipe. He says, props to Sean Porter for fighting all of the top welterweights in their prime. Yeah, man. I mean, Kell Brook he fought in Kell Brook's prime. Errol Spence in Errol Spence's prime. He fought Devin Alexander when Alexander was champion. Danny Garcia. Keith Thurman, you know, Sean Porter's a soldier, man. He fights anybody, anywhere, anytime. He's that sort of guy, man. I got a lot of respect for Sean Porter. A lot of respect for Sean Porter. And I'll be honest, yeah, I felt he beat Keith Thurman. I know that fight was very close, but I felt he beat Keith Thurman. And even the Kell Brook fight, you know, at the time, it's one of those things, that fight. At the time, that fight was viewed as very close. In fact, Jim Watt on Sky Sports had that fight to Sean Porter on his scorecard. It was a very close fight. As time has gone on, you know, people kind of, you know, they revise history and make out like Kell Brook schooled Sean Porter. It was a very close fight, in my opinion. I felt Kell Brook just about nicked it, but nobody's really beaten Sean Porter decisively, is what I'm trying to say. You know, nobody's beaten him decisively. I think Crawford KOs Porter. Porter is too reckless and got dropped by Broner, and Spence also doesn't really have any power. Yeah, Porter's power is not the greatest, but he's still very strong though. If he can get on your chest and smother you, you're gonna have a hard time, you know. And it's up to Terence Crawford to time Sean Porter coming in. I'd be looking at the uppercut in particular for Terence Crawford, but I can see Terence scoring a flash knockdown here and there, but I can't see him knocking him out, bro. Dubois versus Oscar Rivas as a next fight. I would love to see it, bro. That'd be a good test for young Daniel. Joe Joyce has the best jab in the heavyweight division. I wouldn't say that, but he's definitely got a great jab. A very good jab. Felipe, he says, I've got Joyce on a late stoppage. I think that's the safe bet. I would say the same thing. I would say late stoppage. I would rank Joshua second in pound for pound after Canelo and Teofimo third. See, me personally, AJ, I don't rank heavyweights as pound for pound. Unless the heavyweights started in a division below, I'm not going to rank heavyweights in my pound for pound. I personally wouldn't, but there you go. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. And to be honest, like I think there's quite a few more fighters out there who have better resumes than Joshua. I wouldn't rank Joshua that highly, even if I had him in pound for pound. Yeah, thought Tia was going to get an early KO. Why is he worried about Aussie judges? Exactly, Tristan. I'm assuming it's Tristan. Big up to Trist805. I've not seen you here before, bro, so hopefully you're well. Chris Hayes, big up to Chris Hayes, one of the regulars, been here a long time. Crawford all day, and if Usyk beats Joshua, I will eat my hat. I think it's possible, man. I think it's possible. If Usyk is still hanging around in the sort of last quarter of that fight, I think it gets very interesting. Because Usyk has that style which kind of drains his opponent's energy, not just in terms of stamina, but his opponents are always thinking in that ring, you know, kind of trying to figure out Usyk. And that sort of mental pressure can get to fighters, you know, and it can gas them out quicker. So it'll be interesting. If Usyk is still hanging around late on, I think that fight becomes extremely interesting. Pac-Man can't beat Spence also. I mean, I'm leaning towards Spence in that one, to be honest. I'm leaning towards Spence. Yeah, I've seen Murtazaliev fight a couple of times. Haitian sensation, I can't fucking speak. Yeah, I've seen him fight a couple of times. And to tell you the truth, I don't really rate him. Rudimentary style, does the basics well, but no special effects. Jamel Charlo should win that fight comfortably. And you know I like to look at Eastern European prospects and get excited over them, but I don't rate Murtazaliev. I think George would beat Lomachenko and Tank because of his speed. As for Ryan and Tiafimo and Haney, hell no. No way, man. George Kambosos is not beating any top lightweight. No way. I mean, this guy went life and death with Lee Selby, man. He's not great. Will be interesting to see if Terence Crawford can do better than Spence against Porter. Exactly, bro. It's a great opportunity for Terence Crawford to really get his name out there and really beat the drum for those big fights. If he can decisively beat Sean Porter, it's a hell of a statement. Because, like I said, even the guys who beat Sean Porter, nobody beat him decisively, in my opinion. Yeah, Brooks 116, 112, and Furman 116, 112 for me. Furman took a lot more punches, though. Yeah, that Furman fight was great as well. That's a really good fight. Really good fight. But yeah, if you had Furman, I'm not going to call you crazy, but I mean, I personally felt Sean Porter beat Keith Furman. I mean, exactly, crazy D3. I mean, I wouldn't be entirely shocked. He says, I think Porter will overwhelm Crawford early, but then Crawford will take him Bud late KO. I mean, for the last fucking 5-6 years, I've been hearing how mean Terence Crawford is. So he's in there with a pit bull. Let's see how mean he is. Let's see. Is he going to get on his bike and run like he did against Postal? Or is he going to meet fire with fire and put Sean Porter in his place? Because Errol Spence Jr., yeah, he was a bit dirty, but he was mean versus Sean Porter. Let's see Terence exhibit that meanness in this fight. We'll see. I don't think you're going to see it personally. I don't think you're going to see it. AJ's posted a new training video. Joshua's looking more faster and lighter on his feet. He'll need to be, man, because he's in there with a fucking problem, man. He's in there with a problem. I think Usyk's going to go in there and surprise people. I think he's going to try and take Joshua out. He's going to play the long game, but I think he'll try and take Joshua out late on. He's going to try and drain that tank, chip away to the body. If Usyk can get his angles right and find a home for that straight left hand to the body to try and chop Joshua down round after round, I think he's got a great chance. It's up to Usyk to get the angles correct. If he does that, I think he's got a great chance in this fight. He knows Alexander Usyk isn't stupid. He knows the deck stacked against him. He knows the referee is going to be on AJ's side. He knows the judges are going to be on Joshua's side. I'm sure he'll go in there and try and formulate a game plan to knock out Joshua or stop him. So we'll see. Joshua's unbeatable. We all know this. He's got a lot in his favour. And that's the problem that Usyk has in this fight. Hopefully we don't get that fucking Italian ref who refed the Parker fight. No inside fighting allowed. We'll see, though. I honestly think Usyk's got a great chance. I don't think he's going to go in there and lay an egg. I don't think he's going to go in there and roll over. I really don't believe that. So we shall see. We shall see. What's the odds on a Takam KO? It's going to be fucking wide. If you're feeling a Takam KO, go for it, but I can't see it. I think Joyce will dissect him, to be honest. Andy Ruiz versus Dillian White. Keith Thurman, your Dennis Ugas, and Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney are good fights we need. I agree. I would watch all of those fights. Dillian versus Ruiz, to me, is hard to pick. I'm not really impressed with either guy. Thurman versus Ugas. I probably lean towards Ugas at this stage, to be honest. Not really sure where Thurman's at. And I think Devin Haney beats Ryan Garcia. At this point, even Kambosos doesn't beat Marinez or Rolly Romero. Yeah, Mikey versus Pro Grace. Apparently that fight's hit some snags in regards to money, so we'll see in regards to that one. What undercard fight on Fight Camp are you most looking forward to? Oh, obviously Avni Yildirim versus Jack Cullen. Obviously. Imagine, yeah, fighting fucking Canelo in Florida, wherever the fuck it was, in front of all those fans, to fighting at Eddie Hearn's back garden. Can you imagine? But now I'm not really sure, to be honest with you, Michael Van Gerwen. I'm not really sure. I think Nick Webb versus Fabio Wardley will be a bit of fun for what it is. Can Zhu versus Lee Wood might be fun as well. Porter beat the brakes off Thurman. Got caught with showy shots that had little effect. Yeah, that's true. That is true. The problem with Thurman is, obviously, with his wide shots, like the left hook is a fucking slap, man. Thurman's punch technique isn't the greatest, especially when he's fighting off the back foot. But yeah, I just felt Porter outworked Thurman in that fight. I felt he outworked him. But there you go. It's a good fight, though, man. Like, to me, you know, he's never been convincingly beaten. I mean, even the Errol Spence fight, people out there had Sean Porter winning that fight. I had it to Errol Spence by a point because of a knockdown. And I even felt the Kell Brook fight was very close. A different referee and Kell Brook loses that fight against Sean Porter. Oh, Christ. Yeah, not interested. Why do you have a picture of Freddie Prinze Jr.? Don't know who the fuck that is, bro. You would have to enlighten me. Even if Crawford beats Porter, the LDBC will never give him credit he deserves. Or if he beats Spence, they're going to say that Errol hasn't been the same since a car crash. We'll see, man. We'll see. Again, though, I'm not particularly bothered what the what they called the Ludovica. I'm not really concerned what they have to say on boxing. Yeah, Callum Smith at 175. To be honest, Alex, I'm not interested in Callum Smith after that. If you can call it a performance against Canelo, not interested. He'll have to really do something special to get me back invested. But to answer your question, I'm not really expecting too much. Should Joshua just box off a back foot and just counter? He'd be stupid to play Usyk's cat and mouse game. Yeah, I think Usyk should. I think Joshua in that fight probably should. I think he should approach it similar to the Povetkin fight, where he's kind of fighting with a low lead hand, trying to draw Usyk in and try and counter him with the right hand. I think the worst thing for Joshua would be to be ultra aggressive in this fight and like be an aggressive boxer puncher. I'm not sure that suits Joshua in this fight, because if he doesn't get Usyk out of there early on and Usyk evades, makes Joshua miss and connects himself, I think down the stretch that could be disaster for Joshua. So yeah, I think Joshua needs to be a bit more circumspect in this fight with his approach. We all know Joshua's gas tank isn't the greatest, and I think this is one of those fights where he needs to manage it. You know, against Ruiz in the rematch, Joshua could have done that for 24 rounds because Ruiz wasn't doing anything. Sorry, neither was Kubrat Pulev. But this is one of those fights where Joshua's gas tank could be tested, so he needs to keep that in mind. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked, Alex Black. I could see Pacquiao scoring like a flash knockdown early on with the speed. Maybe catches Errol square on. I could see that. I think the Italian ref is named Vincentino Lugiano. Yeah. All I remember is he looked like the fucking Monopoly guy. Tim Zhu versus Tony Harrison, possibly for September. Another great fight and test for Zhu. I think Zhu will win it on points, but it will be tough. Yeah, good fight, good test. Yeah, hopefully that happens. I wouldn't be shocked if Tim Zhu knocks out Tony Harrison. Tony Harrison's not got the greatest chin. He can box a bit, but his chin is poor. Yeah, Callum Smith is a disgrace. He should be nowhere near a pay-per-view event. I would agree. Man. One of the most uninspiring performances I've ever seen against Canelo. Absolutely dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. Do you think they should make a heavyweight Grand Prix? I mean, I'd like to see it. Like, even if it's not with the top heavyweights, even if it's with like fringe contenders, I'd like to see it, to be honest. But finding guys to enter it would be a challenge. Yeah, Jack Cullen will most likely win because Yildirim will turn up in horrible shape. Yeah, I mean, Avni Yildirim isn't great, but he should beat Jack Cullen, in my opinion. Plant versus Canelo is the weakest undisputed fight. Canelo's going to destroy and stop Plant to become undisputed. I mean, you saw how Caleb Plant was getting caught with the overhand right from Caleb Truax. So God knows what Canelo's going to do to this guy. You guys know I don't really rate Caleb Plant all that highly. And yeah, it's for undisputed, but I don't really care about the fight all that much. I just don't rate Caleb Plant like that. He's okay, but nothing special. To me, Caleb Plant personifies style over substance. Looks flashy, looks clever, but I don't rate Caleb Plant at all. Yeah, I saw it. Pacquiao's training super hard for Spence. If Pacquiao has a spark of himself from the Furman fight, he might pull it off. I agree. If it's the same Pacquiao from Furman, we could have a great fight right there. We could have a great fight. From what I've been hearing in regards to the training, he's working on his legs in this fight in training camp. I think the key for Pacquiao in this fight is to not get too greedy. He needs to be really in and out in this fight. In my opinion, his feet need to be very active to win this one. He can't afford to mill around on the ropes, get trapped or anything like that. Needs to be similar to the Margarito performance, I would say. You know, but it's going to be great. It's going to be a great fight, man. Plant is skilled, but he's got no power. Yeah, he's got some skills. But even his skill set I find overrated. I think defensively, Caleb Plant is vastly overrated. Lays on the ropes too much. He's good at avoiding the first shot, but like the second and third, he'll get caught with, kind of thing. I'm not sold on Caleb at all. Canelo Plant is not going to happen. We'll see. Oh, big up to E-Machines. Congrats on your second channel, by the way. You were doing crazy numbers. I never knew Mexican cartel videos were so popular. Yeah, it's crazy, man. I never... Listen, bro, I basically done it on a whim, to be honest. But it's worked out quite well, which is nice. We'll see where it goes. I'm expecting YouTube to fucking ice me or something, but we'll see where it goes. But I'm enjoying it right now. I am enjoying it. Okay, so Callum Smith could be fighting Robin Krasniqi. Jesus, Robin Krasniqi's been around for years. Years and years and years. Pacquiao's left hook to Spence's liver will be there all night. We shall see. Going to be a good one, though. Benavidez and Canelo both beat the brakes off Plant, in my opinion. Late stoppage. I agree, Felipe. I mean, if Caleb Plant doesn't get that Canelo fight, then yeah, he'll fuck around and lose to Benavidez, or even David Morrell Jr. I think both of those guys beat Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant's a black king. Uh, yeah, Caleb Plant is like the guy out of 8 Mile. Forgot his name. Callum Smith, Buatsi, will Eddie keep them away from each other? Of course he will, Crazy D3. That fight's not going to happen. That fight's not going to happen. I mean, he never made fucking Buatsi versus Callum Johnson when he had Callum Johnson, so that fight's never going to happen, Crazy. Unless there's a world title on the line, that will never happen. Did anybody know that Porter and Usyk fought each other as amateurs? Yeah, when they was young kids, yeah. And Porter beat him. Big up to the Londoner. I'm a big Fury fan and still have him as number 1. But you'll have to finish your comment, bro. After Canelo beats Plant, do you think realistically he'll fight Benavidez? Probably not, to be honest. I can't really see it, but hopefully, Benavidez really is the only guy at 168 who I find interesting against Canelo. I wouldn't mind seeing it. Yeah, Adair, you're really not for this Bridgerweight division. I mean, me personally, when it first came about, I didn't really feel the need for it, but you know, it's done now. And if we get good fights in the Bridgerweight division, I'll still watch those fights. So again, it's not really the number of divisions that's the problem in boxing. You know, it's the promotional outfits not working with each other. I guess the number of titles and things like that. It's not really the number of divisions per se, because there could be 20 divisions, but if everybody's fighting each other, it's healthy kind of thing. So listen, I'm coming round to Bridgerweight, to be honest. I mean, it is what it is. I've seen a couple of Bridgerweight fights already, and what I have seen, they've been pretty fun fights. Like Kudryashov versus Romanov. That was a good fight at Bridgerweight. Yeah, Plant is the Eminem of the boxing world. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he looked good against Ruiz, but Ruiz was doing fucking nothing. He was basically a heavy bag. Do you know what I mean? Like he couldn't move his own body weight in that fight, Andy Ruiz. So we'll see. We'll see. But Canelo could stop Benavidez in the body though. Yeah. Yeah. So Haitian Sensation says Benavidez is too risky for Canelo. They won't put Canelo in with him, but Canelo could stop Benavidez to the body. Yeah. Eddie Hearn is disgraceful towards Bivol. Your own promoter offers you John Ryder and says Buatsi is going to beat you. Exactly, man. Yeah, I mean, the whole Bivol thing, I mean, again, when Bivol came on the scene, as you guys know, I rated that guy very highly. I still do, but I've just lost interest in Dimitri Bivol. I felt he performed quite poorly against Craig Richards. He clearly won, don't get me wrong, the scorecards were bogus, but I felt he looked quite poor in that fight, to tell you the truth. And he's in desperate need for a big fight. Desperate need for a big fight. I'll tell you what, Gilberto Ramirez, that fight makes a lot of sense. Ramirez recently signed to Golden Boy, fought Sullivan Barrera in his first fight under Zone. So Ramirez now is a light heavyweight, and he called out Bivol, and Bivol's on the Zone. So to me, the only fight to make for Bivol right now is Gilberto Ramirez. I think that fight makes a lot of sense. And I'll tell you what, I know a lot of guys are high on Bivol, and I rate his skill set. I think he's very good. But I wouldn't be shocked to see Ramirez beat Bivol. I know that might be a out there take, but I think I've always rated Gilberto Ramirez, but he's just never been active. He's never really stepped up. But I do rate him, and I wouldn't be surprised if he beats Bivol. I don't see Canelo being around in 2 years, honestly, unless he keeps cherry picking. I think you'll see Canelo maybe 3 or 4 years, and then he'll retire. He'll probably retire in his mid-30s, like maybe 35, something like that. Beterbiev, Bivol, and Benavidez are the only 3 with a realistic chance of beating Cinnamon. AJ's looking better, particularly on the back foot, but Fury still beats him. Yeah, I'd still lean towards Fury, but I mean, Tyson Fury, I kind of find it hard to really trust him, to tell you the truth. At this point in time, I just want to get that fight out of the way. providing Joshua beats Usyk and Fury beats Wilder, I want to get that fight out of the way as quickly as possible so we can move on. Benavidez is overrated in my opinion. Not sure why so many people think he's some monster. That's fair. Yeah, he's not proven anything, to be honest. I do rate him in terms of his raw talents, the size, the hand speed. He's got decent power. I like his combinations. And his style, in my opinion, will be a problem for a lot of guys at 168. I do rate him, and I think stylistically he matches up quite well with Canelo. So, yeah, I like that fight personally. I mean, when was the last time Canelo fought a guy who was super aggressive and super high output? We know Canelo doesn't throw the most punches in the world. Canelo's not really fought that sort of guy for a long time. Benavidez throws a lot of punches. He's a lot bigger, decent hand speed. He's kind of unorthodox. He's kind of unorthodox as well. So I just think Benavidez's style is an interesting challenge for Canelo, personally. Is it me, or does White never call out Joshua? He should be hunting him down every opportunity. Yeah, that's true. I mean, the Londoner, he had an opportunity to fight him. He was offered that fight at Wembley in April 2019, and he turned it down. So, yeah, I'm not sure really where Dillian White is going right now. Zurdo Bivol is in the works for the 100th time, but if it happens, Bivol will completely outbox him. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, man. I'm really not sure. I think Zurdo gives him a lot of trouble. 6'3" southpaw, does the basics well. He's long. He hits pretty hard. I think Zurdo's got a chance. Canelo's elite. He's not scared of anybody. I wouldn't go that far. I think he's elite in terms of skill set, but he's got his advantages. Let's just say that. But yeah, he's a good fighter, Canelo. If Zurdo took part in that WBO 175 tournament and fought Vlasov, Alidia, and Joe Smith, do you think he would have come out on top? Do you know what, Jiho? I actually think he beats Joe Smith Jr. And I think more than likely he would have beaten that version of Alidia Alvarez. Maxime Vlasov, though, is an interesting style matchup. That could be a hard one to call, but he would have a very good chance. Fury's maneuvering himself to the top with the least risk. I'm cool. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't think Canelo fights Beterbiev, Golovkin, Charlo, or Benavidez. I think he beats the last three, but he isn't in it to take damage, and those guys can cause it. Yeah, I actually think Canelo is beatable, but it would need to take somebody to outbox and outpoint him. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. What are some of the worst fighter trainer pairing that you can think of? Golovkin with Banks is terrible. A Kazakhstani boxer with a Philadelphia counterpunch style coach who also has slurred speech. I mean, I'm not sure about that partnership yet with Jonathan Banks, to be honest, but we shall see. But bad partnerships, I mean, I always thought Buddy McGirt and Sergey Kovalev was a bad partnership, to be honest. I mean, Sergey Kovalev is a boxer-puncher / counter-puncher, and Buddy McGirt's more of a point fighter style, I would say, more boxing-based. He's a point fighter style. So I never really understood that partnership, although, to be honest, Kovalev, he looked good in the Alvarez rematch, and he looked good in parts against Yard, but to me, he sacrificed a lot of his strengths under Buddy McGirt, the straight right hand, the power. He sacrificed a lot of that to change his style. So I was never really convinced by Buddy McGirt and Sergey Kovalev, to be honest. And another one was when Joe Joyce was with Adam Booth. That to me made no sense whatsoever. Yes, hit the like. Big up to yes, sir. Salute to you, sir. Yeah, Joshua hasn't KO'd anybody before 7 rounds in the last 4 years. To those who are saying Usyk gets KO'd early. Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, hit the like, guys. Be much appreciated. Be much appreciated. Yes, Hatton and Mayweather Sr. was absolutely crazy as well. Ricky was surely on the drugs by then when he decided to do that. Yeah, I think they was both on something, Paul. Honestly. Yep. We all remember the HBO 24/7 when they was watching Pacquiao fight and they was replicating it on the pads. Just roll under, roll under. And they were saying, oh, Pacquiao throws the same shots over and over, and then he proceeds to get knocked out by that said shot. Hilarious, man. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. But yeah, Hatton Mayweather was a peculiar partnership. Hang on, guys. Doing a little. There you go. Boom. You think Joe Smith Jr. beats Yard? Yeah, I think he'll knock him out. I think he'll knock him out. Yeah, White has too much lip towards Fury, Wilder, and the WBC when he's fighting Franklin. Yeah, we'll see we'll see who he fights next, but it's not going to be anybody great. Matthew Macklin and Buddy McGirt. Yeah, that was another weird one. Yeah, Anthony Yard and Tunde Ajayi. Yeah, it seems like that partnership has run its course. To be honest, I don't think Tunde is a great trainer at the elite level. The impression I get with Tunde is that he's one of those guys who's good at spotting raw talent in the amateurs, like he did with Yard, like he did with O'Hara Davis to a lesser extent. But I don't think he's going to be that sort of guy who takes you to the next level. I think I've asked this before, but Felix Sturm versus Sergio Martinez around 2010, 2011, who have you got? Martinez on points, I would say. I think Martinez would be a little too dynamic for Felix Sturm. Felix Sturm had that great high guard, nice jab, done the basics well, but I think he would have been outpointed. Yes. Usyk was nearly taken out a couple of times against Chisora early on. This is what makes me think he gets KO'd. See, I never thought he was hurt in that fight against Chisora. He was a little uncomfortable in the early rounds, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he was seriously hurt or anything. Personally. Prime Shagayev and a prime Chisora. I would say Shagayev on points in a close-ish fight. Yes, hit the like, helps the stream out with the algorithm and the YouTube wizards. Indeed, man, indeed. Indeed. I mean, listen, YouTube, they're doing my other channel a lot of favors with the algorithm. But when it comes to this channel, not so much, man. Cunts. I think it's closer than people say. It's all you need to do is look at common opponents. Sturm destroyed Barker. Martinez struggled. Sturm beat Murray. And Murray beat Martinez. Yeah, that's true, Alex. That's true. But one thing I will say, by the time Sergio fought Murray, I think the guy was on his last legs, to be honest. I think he was on his last legs. But you're right. Yeah, you are right. What do you think of Dennis the Menace McCann? Good prospect. I think he's a good prospect, the Londoner. He just needs to have the right matchmaking, the right step-ups at the right time. I think he's talented. Is he going to be a world champion? Not sure about that, but he's a good, talented fighter. Any decent fights on the undercard of the BT show? Yeah, so you've got Chris Bourke versus James Beach Jr., which should be a good fight. I think that'll be a fun little fight. It's a good test for Chris Bourke, who I quite like. You've also got Echo Esserman versus Chris Jenkins. That is for the British welterweight title. That's going to be a good little fight as well. So yeah, there's a couple of good domestic scraps on the undercard. And also you've got Hamza Shiraz, a guy at 154, who I quite rate. Hamza Shiraz, he's a tall, rangy guy, big for the weight. One of those guys, he's got no I wouldn't say he's got any special effects, but he does all of the basics really well. He's technically well put together. So check out Hamza Shiraz on the BT undercard. I quite like the look of that kid. I do. And apparently now he's training out in America as well, which will be good for his development. So yeah, I like Hamza Shiraz. I do. I like his style. Exactly. Yeah, Usyk was never visibly hurt, let alone almost taken out against Chisora. Derek pushed Usyk and got him into rough clinches, but he wasn't close to knocking him out. Yeah, I agree. That is true, but Joshua's not going to be throwing those same sort of shots. He's not going to be throwing those overhands and those wild swings. Joshua's much more conventional than Derek. Yes, big up to Official Scorecard Boxing Science in the chat. Big up to you, sir. That is true, to be fair. Martinez looked poor in that fight, and he showed a ton of heart still. Abraham at 160 would have beaten both. Yeah, that would have been a good fight as well. Arthur Abraham, Sergio Martinez. I think Abraham would have had a good chance in that fight against Sergio, and I think Abraham beats Sturm at 160. Florian Mark, who punishes Crawford in 2023, believe it. Yeah, Hamza Shiraz is good. I rate him as well, Official. I rate him as well. The thing is, though, Official, nobody's talking about him in the UK. Nobody's talking about him at all when it comes to prospects. Shiraz stops Fowler. That'll be a good fight. That'll be a good test. Yeah, a lot of people are going to write off Usyk, but I think he's got a great chance. I'd probably say 55-45 in favor of Joshua. Yeah, I like same. I like Porter versus Crawford. Porter's going to make Crawford earn a win. Yeah, that's if Crawford does win. He is, yeah. And listen, man, you know, like you say, for a guy of his size, he is good in the pocket. And, you know, traditionally, UK fighters are not great on the inside. So that's a positive. The fact that he can handle himself on the inside is definitely a positive. So I'm looking forward to seeing where his career goes. I really am. I'd like to see him be a bit more active, to be honest, but I'm looking forward to seeing him fight tomorrow. I like his style. I do like his style. Who would have won between Kyle Froch and Badu Jack? I would have said Kyle Froch on points. To be honest, Kyle Froch on points. Big up to Jerome Benjamin in the chat as well. Salute to you, sir. Hopefully you're keeping well on this fine Friday evening. Right. Did somebody say that? Yeah, I didn't see that personally, James. I didn't see it. Usyk to me was, you know, he was always in relative control in that fight after the third round, in my opinion. I mean, I think he's got a good chance, the Londoner. Like, if Usyk can stick around and take Joshua into deep waters, I think that fight becomes extremely interesting. I really do. Again, it's up to Usyk to get his angles right, in my opinion. If he can get his angles right and avoid that straight right and find a home for a straight left to the body, I think it's going to be a hard night for Joshua. I really do. Interestingly, I was listening to a stream by Ultratech, and he had Spencer Fearon on, and Spencer Fearon was saying that Team Joshua are studying Bernard Hopkins versus Antonio Tarver, and the foot positioning from Bernard Hopkins in that fight. And Bernard Hopkins' foot positioning in that fight, his outside foot was on the inside of the southpaw in Antonio Tarver, so he could land that short right hand more regularly. So apparently that's the fight they're studying. They're studying Hopkins versus Tarver, believe it or not. Joshua will lose. Usyk's a southpaw. Joshua is a late stopper. Fighting more conventional is more appealing to Usyk's style rather than Chisora's wild scrapping. Joshua's chin is worse. Sarah J, hot or not, you know, she's what I call a butterface, you know, like her body's all right, but her face is jacked kind of thing. So listen, theoretically, I wouldn't fuck her personally because she's been around, but if I saw somebody who was identical to Sarah J, who wasn't Sarah J, yeah, I'd fuck her. I'd probably like lean towards more doggy style, so I don't have to look at her, but I'd give her a go. I'd give her a go. I'd be lying if I said I wouldn't. Big up to G-Man Boxing. Salute to you, sir. And check out G-Man's channel, by the way, G-Man Boxing. And also his second channel, which I've really been enjoying, True Crime with G-Man. Really good channel, man. Really good channel. Yeah, G-Man is one of the, like, just soundest people on the whole YouTube boxing scene. One of the soundest people on here. I don't think you really can, to be honest. Your chin is your chin, really, isn't it? You can improve your defense. You can actually improve, like, how you brace for a shot, how you take a shot, but you can't really improve your chin, I guess. I don't think so personally. I guess you can strengthen your neck muscles, but yeah, Usyk will make it hard with a good game plan. I just think AJ is too sharp, too big, and too focused. I think AJ takes him out. Oh, now, yes. Jiho Park, I rate Junto Nakatani highly. I think he's a very good fighter. In my opinion, he's one of the best kept secrets in boxing, especially in the lower weights. He's huge for his weight class, throws a lot of punches, very rangy, very aggressive, hits hard. Angel Acosta brings that pressure, throws a lot of punches himself, but I think he'll get taken out in a war against Junto Nakatani. I've got a feeling Campbell Hatton will disappear quietly in a tough undercard against a bus driver. Yeah, I don't rate him, David. I don't rate him at all. At all. What do you think of MJ Akhmadaliev versus Ronnie Rios? Could be slightly dangerous for Akhmadaliev. Yeah, good little fight. Good little fight. Ronnie Rios is a tough dude, been around, very experienced, you know, and yeah, but I would imagine MJ wins. I think MJ's got a bit too much for him, to be honest. Trying to do like 5 things at once here, so apologies for my lack of communication. Dale Campbell Hatton is for the old is for the old Hatton fans and football casuals. Once he loses, that's it. I agree. Honestly, yeah. From watching Campbell Hatton's first couple of fights, I've seen guys in the gym who I believe would have a good chance against Campbell Hatton, just like local amateurs kind of thing. Do you think Tio's going to drop a belt? Can't understand him not forcing the Haney fight for undisputed. Yeah, I mean, you know, Tio right now is acting like a bit of a diva, to be honest. He's acting like a bit of a diva. He's moaning about potentially going to Australia to fight Kambosos. I mean, I think that's a great opportunity, to be honest. The payday is going to be massive. We know the purse bid. Like, the payday would be huge. Kambosos isn't a great fighter by no means. It's a very winnable fight. Tio should knock him out quite easily, to tell you the truth. So, to me, I mean, that's a great opportunity. Going to Australia, building that fan base, getting a knockout. There's no reason Teofimo shouldn't take that fight in Australia. Yeah, Dell wants young Hatton next. Yes, give me a 12-week training camp. I could definitely go the distance. I'm a lot bigger. To be honest, I'm quite a bit bigger than him. So, yeah. Cash Farouk and Felix Cash still don't have fights for fight camp. 2 of the best fighters there. Yep. Do you know what, Alex Black? Cash Farouk, I love his style. I love his style. Do you know who? I'll tell you what, Cash Farouk reminds me a lot of Regis Prograis. I'm not sure whether you guys can see it, but I think stylistically he's very similar. The only difference really is that Cash Farouk doesn't have that same sort of pound for pound power that Regis Prograis has. But I love watching Cash Farouk fight. Love his style. Love his style. Yeah, Hatman also criticised Campbell Hatton. Yeah, I don't rate him, E-Machines. I really don't. Who's winning? James Martin versus Vito Mielnicki rematch. I mean, I felt James Martin decisively won the first fight, but I've got a gut feeling, Mighty Max, that Mielnicki's going to win the rematch. I'm not basing that on anything whatsoever, just a gut feeling. Yeah, imagine being Hatton and being so simple to think that because my dad was great, I will be too. He looks like somebody who never spars because the trainer's afraid he'll get hurt. Yeah, so raw. He looks extremely raw, G-Man. What's next for Prograis? They're talking about a Mikey Garcia fight, the Londoner. But right now, apparently, the fight's hit some snags. You know, they're kind of debating about money. So, yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? Hang on. Can't fucking type today. Typing like a complete fucking spastic. Being super unprofessional, as always. Arslanbek Makhmudov back in action, Del, against Pavel Sowers. Hopefully he steps up. Yeah, he's fighting in Mexico. I saw that on BoxRec, G-Man. I saw that on BoxRec. I quite like watching Makhmudov fight. He's a puncher. Fun to watch, but you're right. He needs to step up. He's 31, 32 now, so needs to get a move on, man. I'm not going to give it away yet, Felipe. I'm not going to give it away yet. I will do a prediction video for that fight, but I'm not going to give it away. But you know, ultimately, Josh Warrington has a big task on his hands. He really does. If I was a Josh Warrington fan, which I'm not really, to be honest, but if I was, one thing I'd be taking confidence in was that he's actually fighting in front of the fans again. And Josh Warrington's one of those guys who really thrives off that crowd energy. So, you know, we'll see what happens. But I'm looking forward to it, though. Yep, I don't rate Campbell Hatton either. If it weren't for his name, he'd be fighting in clubs right now. I don't expect much from him, but hopefully he at least goes on to have entertaining fights. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Garcia Prograis would be a very interesting fight. I like that. Yeah, it'd be a very good fight. I'd lean towards Prograis, to be honest. I'd lean towards Prograis, but I see it, to be honest. Campbell Hatton will get a corrupt British title shot in 3 years' time. Will then get beat up. Sam Eggington, when he started out as an attempted journeyman, was better. I agree. Me and my dad were rooting against Campbell Hatton when he was fighting the 0-10 Jesus Ruiz. I want Fury versus Joshua, Crawford Spence, Tio versus Taylor this year. Not too much to ask for, is it? It's a lot to ask for, man. But I'd love to see all of those fights. Conor just popped for PEDs. Which Conor? Are you yanking my fucking chain? Are you yanking my chain? Let's I think you might be yanking my chain. Are you talking about Conor Ben? Conor McGregor? What are you talking about? What are you talking about, man? I think you're fucking yanking my chain if I were to guess. I think Khabib is yanking our chain. Yeah, I want to see Warrington Kid Galahad rematch. I mean, the first fight was terrible, wasn't it? Conor Ben, are you serious? Let's look on the fucking Twitter. Have a look. Can't see nothing. I cannot see nothing about it. There's nothing on Twitter, so yeah, unless you've got some inside information, I doubt it. Your thoughts on Janibek Alimkhanuly? Very good prospect at middleweight. He recently beat up what's his name? Rob Grant. Really good performance, and he's now calling for a fight with Demetrius Andrade. So yeah, I think he's a good prospect. I think he's a bit of a problem. Hits hard, good counter puncher. I think he's a good fighter. I really do. Yeah, I think that Conor Ben news is BS, by the way. Does Coensao have a shot against Valdez? Since this fight is meant to be a homecoming for Oscar, I doubt it. But admittedly, I've never seen Coensao fight. Yeah, I've seen Coensao fight. I saw him in the Olympics, and I've seen him on several top-ranked undercards. So Coensao won the gold medal at Rio 2016. Very, very good amateur. But as a pro, while he's got a fun style to watch, to me, he doesn't look all that great as a pro. So I'd go with Oscar Valdez to win this fight. But Coensao does have height and reach on Oscar Valdez. I think he's got like 5 inches reach on Valdez. So could be interesting. Could be interesting. Yeah, I think it's false, bro. I think it's false. Yeah, I checked it as well. Yeah, I think Kid Galahad's got a lot of skills, the Londoner. I really do. I think he's got a lot of skills. He's one of those guys though, hasn't really put it all together, but in terms of ability and talent, I do rate Kid Galahad. I do rate him. I think he's a good fighter. Shit, I'm like got so many tabs open here. Big up to Levi Khan. Salute to you, sir. Kanzu Lee Wood. It should be a fun fight, Levi. Lee Wood comes to scrap. He's a good boxer puncher at British level, but I would imagine Kanzu is going to overwhelm him. Kanzu's not a big puncher, but he throws a lot of punches. So I'll go Kanzu. But it's a good little fight. It'll be fun for what it is. It'll be a fun little fight. Yeah, exactly. G-Man boxing. He's my friend. I know he wouldn't do it for purpose. Yeah, big up to Harley Quinn, by the way. No cap. Ben looks to be juiced since Vargas. I wouldn't be shocked. Did Israel Madrimov get dropped by Matchroom? He fought on some Uzbek card recently against a bum. Israel, are you sure you're talking about Israel Madrimov? No, he's not been dropped. He's not been dropped, and I don't think he's recently fought, bro. No, he last fought against Amani Colombo, and that was in Uzbekistan, but it was a matchroom card. So no, he's not been dropped. Ben loses to Congo, McKinson, and Avanesian. I think he beats Congo. I think he beats McKinson, and I think he loses to Avanesian. Yeah, that's true, Levi. That's true. That's true. That's true. Big up the Levi Khan. Finally spent my last dollars of winnings from Martin Bacole, Marius Wack. Worst odds ever in boxing history. Laugh out loud. Had Bacole as an outright underdog. Yeah, I remember that, bro. I remember that. Crazy, innit? Crazy. A bit off topic, but I can't see Conor McGregor fighting UFC. He'll box a few times. Yeah, maybe. You know, he broke his ankle, so he's out for a long time. To me, he looks like a fighter who's past his best at this point in time. You know, even before that leg break, Dustin Poirier was piecing him up. He really was, man. Basically, the sport moved on. The sport moved on. All of these guys were still in the gym, training, getting better, whereas Conor was out and about, not taking it seriously. He never improved, and ultimately he declined as a fighter. The sport just left him behind. And let's be honest, with Conor McGregor, even when he was in his prime, his style was very one-dimensional. To be honest, his style was very one-dimensional. So, you know, Conor McGregor at the elite level, in my opinion, is done. To be honest, I can't see Conor beating a legitimate world-class UFC guy anymore. I think the future for Conor, if he's to fight in the UFC, is to fight maybe a trilogy against Nate Diaz, maybe a fight with Tony Ferguson, who's lost a couple of fights recently. That's the sort of fight Conor should be fighting in the UFC right now, if he comes back. Oh yeah, that's soon, isn't it? Yeah, that's on a Tuesday as well, Levi. Oh, it's a real boxing match. De La Hoya versus Vitor Belfort. Yeah, it's a real boxing match. I don't know. I'm not sure whether he's still boxing, bro. Yeah, Dean Povetkin's going to come knocking on your door. To be fair, Levi, the guy he was fighting wasn't too bad. To be honest, he wasn't too bad. Wasn't great, but yeah, it wasn't too bad. I'm not sure, to be honest, for Londoner, but maybe it was down to ticket sales. That's what a lot of people are speculating. Who knows? With Tyson Fury, who knows, man? Oh, Alex Black, he's picking Lee Wood to beat Can Xu. Can Xu's defense isn't the best, and Wood has great power and counters off a back foot. Not to add the inactivity for a volume puncher like Xu. That's true, actually. That's a good point. No, Tunde Ajayi is still in the camp. He's still in the camp. Who wins tonight on Showtime? Calvin Henderson versus Isaiah Steen. 168 unbeaten prospects. I've got Steen, though. I've never seen either guy fight, to be honest, Levi. Never seen either guy fight. So I'm not sure. Not sure. The Londoner, Aldo, he peaked. Still a legend, raised UFC and MMA globally. That's true. That is true. You know, Conor does have some good wins. Aldo, Eddie Alvarez, Poirier in the first fight, Max Holloway. You know, a couple of his wins aged really well, but I just can't see him beating those sort of guys again. To be honest, I really can't see it. Like, do you think he'd beat Max Holloway now? I doubt it. He obviously can't beat Poirier now. So it's one of those things, man. And the saddest thing about Conor McGregor, you know when you see somebody become a caricature of themselves, that's Conor McGregor at this stage. You know, when he came on the scene, it was fresh, it was kind of entertaining, and it was effective as well. The trash talk, he got under a lot of guys' skin, but people grew wise to him, and he never adjusted. He never got better, and eventually he got found out. Conor. Yeah, probably 50-50, Levi. I really can't see Warrington beating Lara in the rematch. I think Lara will sleep him again. I can't see what Warrington does differently, and he clearly doesn't have the power to make Lara respect him. Yeah, exactly, Stefano. So that means Warrington would need to adjust his style. I think he needs to approach that fight with like an in and out style. He needs to get in, throw a combination, and get all of the way out. The problem with Josh Warrington in the first fight, he got in, he threw a combination, he landed, and he stayed there. And against a bigger puncher like Mauricio Lara, that's a recipe for disaster. You know, when you wait there too long. When Warrington opened up with punches, he was always first to the punch. He was starting the exchanges, but the problem was Warrington was staying in the pocket way too long. So in this rematch, Warrington needs to be in and out. He can't afford to sit there too long, otherwise he'll get knocked out again. But I think it's winnable for Josh, but it'll be a hard fight. Yeah, I agree. Jiho Park, Andoni Gargo, European champion right now, would be a good opponent. Yep, I agree. Yeah, I can't see McGregor return from a break like that at his age. That's why I think he'll box a few times. You might be right. Yeah, cocaine versus TRT, Oscar versus Vitor Belfort. Exactly, man. Do you know what? I think Big Bang Zhang is so useless. I would still take a current Povetkin, to be honest. I think he's useless. Zhilei Zhang, big lumbering idiot. 6'9", southpaw, can't move his own body weight. He's not great, is he? Zhilei Zhang. He's not great at all. It's got to be Bradis, man. It's got to be Bradis with those John Jones elbows. You could be right, man. You could be right. Can you imagine though, like going from fighting in Florida against Canelo to fighting in Eddie Hearn's back garden? No, I'd say White Povetkin. That's true, yeah, I agree about McGregor, but how could he stay grounded? He became an international icon overnight. That's true, yeah. His rise to the top was so quick. Like he entered the UFC in 2013, became champion in 2015, and that rise was meteoric. Like I've not seen a rise like that in boxing, to be honest with you, particularly in the United States. I've not seen a rise like that in boxing from a fighter. So, yeah, Conor did his thing to begin with, man, but, you know. Fucking hell, I'm going crazy. Yeah, exactly. Warrington zero punch power versus a hungry Mexican. Yeah, it might not end well. Yeah, is Tim Tszyu the mandatory for Castano? I'm not sure at the moment. Charlo and Castano fighting Mandos if they immediately fight each other after. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure about Tim Tszyu. He's number one contender. Like, he's ranked number one, I believe, but I'm not sure whether he's actually the Mando. I'm not sure. See, I thought. See, if I was the WBO, I would order Tim Tszyu against Magomed Kurbanov, who recently beat Liam Smith for an eliminator. Yeah, Zhang would get KO'd by Dave Allen. It could happen, man. I agree, Levi. Yeah, I don't think he's 6'5", but he's not 6'9" either. Yeah, McGregor grew so fast. I remember reaction channels piggybacking off him. Some have 100K from a few years back just reacting to Conor videos. Yep. Uh, he was like the biggest name in sports at one point, or at least combat sports. He was the biggest name. And don't get it twisted. He still is a big name. He still is a big name. Fuck me. I'm gonna do loads of shit in the background here. Fuck. Yeah, so am I, Yadiel. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Rigondeaux versus Casemiro fight. Also has an interesting co-main event in Emmanuel Rodriguez versus Gary Antonio Russell. Yeah, good co-main event and good main event. I'm leaning towards Casemiro. I've made my official prediction video for that fight. And weirdly, that video got like 1,000 views in like a couple of days, which is weird because I would assume nobody's interested in Casemiro Rigondeaux, but that video did okay, which is nice. Oh no way, Henry! No way, Conor's done, man. He's done it. Well, he's done at the elite level. Is Billy Joe Saunders gone for good? Only way I see him back is if he fought a fight with Golovkin or the like. I think Billy Joe could beat Golovkin. I don't think you'll see, but I'm not sure whether we're going to see him again. But I can't see him beating Golovkin even now. To be honest, I really can't see it. Yeah, that fight against Gabalo was a fucking sham. Yeah, I think he's too fresh as well. I think he's too fresh. Yeah, I agree. Okay, bump of K. Rigondeaux's going to smoke Casemiro. Left hand is a bomb. It's true. It is, yeah. But he needs to be throwing it. You know, he needs to be letting go of that shot. And the thing is, with Rigondeaux now, his legs have completely gone. He invites a lot of pressure on himself now. Look at his fight with Julio Ceja. Julio Ceja was tagging Rigondeaux quite regularly, and he buzzed Rigondeaux. Liborio Solis as well. If you look at the Solis fight, Solis had a lot of success. He hurt Rigondeaux. Rigondeaux's legs have gone. To me, he needs to land that one perfect shot. He needs to hurt Casemiro and take him out to win this fight. I can't see Rigondeaux having the activity to outpoint Casemiro. I don't think he's got the legs to outbox Casemiro. He needs to knock out Casemiro, in my opinion. And it's possible. Don't get me wrong, but I'm leaning towards Casemiro. But it's an interesting fight. It's an interesting fight. I am looking forward to it. Yeah, the whole build up to Conor McGregor, Jose Aldo was fucking immense. I do remember that, yeah, because I thought he was going to lose that fight. To be honest, at the time, I thought Conor was going to lose it, as did a lot of people at the time. Yeah, me too, the Londoner. There's a few guys I'm looking out for from the UK. Ben Whittaker, who I quite like. Fraser Clark at heavyweight, obviously, going to look at him. Bakadir Jalalov from Uzbekistan at heavyweight, one to watch. Kisniak, the Ukrainian middleweight, another really good fighter to watch. So there's a few names out there I'm looking for in these Olympics. There's a few names I'm looking at. Malik Scott next. Yeah, I tell you, I like the other Russell. I like the other Russell. What's his name? Gary Antoine Russell at 140. I think he looks like a real good prospect. He looks really good. I've not seen too much of Gary Antonio though, so I can't really comment. But Rodriguez obviously is a lot more proven. Realistically, what happens if McGregor wins a boxing match? Sorry, hang on. Realistically, what happens first? McGregor wins a boxing match, Eubank Jr. fights somebody of note and wins a legit title, or White getting his overdue WBC shot? Eubank Jr. winning a world title, in my opinion. Yeah, exactly, Jiho, exactly. Indeed, unrivaled. Yep. I'm not sure whether I'm going to cover anything yet. I might do a couple of fights here and there, like let's say Fraser Clark. If he goes far, I might cover a couple of his fights, but I'm not sure whether I'm going to. I'm not sure whether I'm going to cover it on the channel. Who knows? Maybe. Yep, I agree, Levi. Gary Russell's a damn beast, and so are all his brothers. Not his fault that Al Heyman can't get him no fights or no paydays in his weight class. Sucks to be small, yeah. See, for me, yeah, I've always said with Gary Russell Jr., the main Gary Russell, to me, he's been one of the biggest wastes of talent in boxing in the last 10 years. I really do believe that. Blessed with great hand speed, great combinations, decent boxing skills, lovely reaction time. Gary Russell Jr., man, could have achieved so much more. So much more. But, inactivity, not the correct motivation, it's just not really developed the way a lot of people thought he would do. I'm not surprised to hear that, Levi. I'm not surprised to hear that. Assad is not a fan of Fraser Clark. I think he's all right. Boom, boom. Oh, yeah. Kiko Martinez gets passed around like a fucking spliff, doesn't he? Oh, Kiko. He gets passed around like a spliff. Bless him. I think Fraser Clark's 30 or 31. He's not the youngest, Levi. Indeed. But I think at heavyweight, the shoe-in for gold medal is Jalalov right now. No, he's all right. He's not too bad. He's not a bad fighter, Fraser Clark. He's not a bad fighter. He's got a couple of decent scalps in the amateurs. Like, he's not bad. And I think he'll make an okay pro as well. But I think Fraser Clark, I think he would do well to get a bronze medal. I think it's possible. I think he can medal. But I think, Fraser Clark, I can't see him winning gold or silver. But I think he could get a bronze. I think he could snag a bronze. Yeah, Kunkumbayev's a good fighter, another tricky southpaw. Both of those guys have had a few pro fights. Kunkumbayev, though, was campaigning at cruiserweight in the pros. So in terms of size, Jalalov's going to have it on him. So I would favour Jalalov in the Olympics, but Kunkumbayev's a really tricky boxer, man. Really tricky boxer. I didn't hear it. What about the Frankie amateur GB boxer who died yesterday? I heard he drowned on social media. Really? Um, Oh, Frank Vari. Do you know what? I never knew that. Never knew that. 16 years old. Fucking hell. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm trying to do two things at once here. I've got a video premiering on the other channel, man. So I reckon Clark's get beat in the last 8 versus Alayev. You might be right, Unrivaled. You might be right, mate. You might be right. But regardless, after these Olympics, he'll definitely turn pro. I reckon he'll go to BT, for some reason. I hope not Levi Khan. I've lost interest in Billy Joe. I've lost interest. I agree, the Londoner. Viali Trophy, World Boxing Super Series. I agree. But yeah, rest in peace to Frank, man. But yeah, rest in peace. I've not really been on Twitter the last few days, man, so I've not really been keeping up like that. But yeah, sad. It's sad. 16 years old. But water is fucking. It can be crazy, man. Like no matter how fit and strong you are, man, if you get caught in the wrong spot, it's looking bad. It's looking bad, honestly. Apparently, Fraser Clark has an agreement with Frank Warren. On the flip side, Unrivaled saying he's already with 258, I believe. Interesting. Chris Bourke, I would say. Chris Bourke, I'm more than likely on points, maybe a late stoppage. But I do like Chris Bourke. I think Chris Bourke's decent. Rivas again. Late stoppage again as well. No, a step below Joshua and Joyce in the amateurs. A step below. He's in the top 10 ranked guys, but like probably outside of number 5 kind of thing. Yeah, I've got Rivas. And yeah, I've got Bourke against Beach. But Bourke Beach is a decent little domestic fight, It's not a bad fight at all. It's not a bad fight. I like Bourke's style. Yep, 2 streams at once, commitment, Del. Indeed. Although one technically is a premiere, but still, I like to see how it's going on. I like to see what's going on with it. So yeah, it's doing all right. 524 people watching that thing, That's mad. That's mad. I like it. I like it for the Londoner. I think Takam's going to stick around for a little while. Takam always comes to fight. Strong dude, fit as a fiddle. He'll come to fight. He might give Joyce a couple of problems early on, but I think Joe Joyce grinds him down maybe for a late stoppage. But I think it's the perfect sort of it's the perfect fight right now. Joyce has been inactive since Dubois, but he can't come back against a complete scrub. And Takam, he can handle himself. So it's a good little fight. It's a good little fight. Yeah, Nick Campbell, don't rate him at all. Don't rate him at all. So a premiere is like when you so when you upload a video normally, you just upload it and forget about it. A premiere is where you have like a countdown and people can so let's say you could premiere a video for 9 p.m. and the video gets uploaded at 9 p.m. and it plays kind of thing like a live stream would, if that makes sense. And then the video just is uploaded kind of thing. Yeah, exactly, G-Man. He looks useless, doesn't he? Old Nick Campbell. He doesn't look great, does he? Old Nick. Nasty Nick Campbell. Yeah, there's some absolute fucking weirdos on the comments though on the second channel. I'll tell you that much. Fucking hell. Yeah, I don't mind it, but I wanted Joyce versus Usyk. That would have been a really interesting one. Yeah, that would have been a great fight. Would have been a great fight. See, I would have loved to have seen Joyce versus Hrgovic. That would have been a great fight. That would have been a great fight. But yeah, I mean, apart from Joyce this weekend, there's really not too much to look forward to. Let's have a look on BoxRec quickly. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at this shit. Yeah, we've got Makhmudov. He's fighting tonight. The Russian heavyweight prospect. He's fighting in Mexico against Pavel Sauer. Not a great fight, but he's a good prospect. And tomorrow we have, obviously, the Joe Joyce card. Do we have anything else, though? Yeah, so you got the Joyce card, Joyce Takan, Chris Jenkins, Echo Esserman, which is a good fight. Hamza Shiraz, Ezekiel Guerrero, Chris Bork, James Beach Jr. And there's nothing going on in America. Yeah, nothing's going to go down in America. So, yeah, I mean, it's not a great weekend, to be honest. It's not a great weekend, but we'll make do. We'll make do. We'll make do. It's one of those things, man. Yeah, the crime community seems cool from what I've seen. Yeah, I mean, you get a couple of weirdos commenting here and there, G-Man, but, you know, for the most part, the community seems a lot less toxic than the boxing one. And I'm fucking out here talking about guys getting their fucking heads cut off and shit. And that community is less toxic than the boxing community, which is crazy. Which is why I'm super grateful for this channel, because for whatever reason, I don't know how I've done it, but the community here, you know, are full of sound guys, man. So that's been nice as well. That's been nice, because you know how YouTube is with boxing. Yeah, it's all like fragmented, and we all have there's all these little cliques on the YouTube boxing scene. You know what I mean? Like people riding with certain promoters or riding with certain guys based on where they come from and shit. And the whole scene really is a dumpster fire, to tell you the truth. But you know, this community we have here, in my opinion, is one of the best on the whole boxing side. You know, and I know G-Man's got a similar community on his channel, you know, as does Mark. So yeah, I mean, I just try and stay away from that shit with boxing. I've made a few mistakes here and there, don't get me wrong, but you guys are all sound, which is good. I'll give it a watch, Levi. I won't stay up for it, but I'll watch it the next day. Yeah, boxing fans losing out all the time. Talking about all these great fights and talented fighters, frustrating we don't have a super fight every week. Exactly. See, I think Sonny Edwards is fucking hilarious, man. I actually quite like him. I think he's been saying a lot of he's been saying a lot of truths on Twitter, in my opinion. Hang on, guys. Exactly, G-Man. I like Sonny. When he first come on the scene, G-Man, I couldn't stand the guy, to tell you the truth. But you know, the more I've got to see of him, I actually quite like him. Quite like him. Yeah, I've got Spence. Spence on points, I think, is for safe bet Levi. I'd say Spence on points. Good fight, though. Interesting fight. That's mad, isn't it? Fucking... It's still crazy for me to think, yeah. December 2012, Manny Pacquiao, Juan Manuel Marquez 4. Marquez knocks out Pacquiao in brutal fashion. Could you imagine being told in 2012 after Pacquiao got knocked out? Could you imagine being told 9 years later he'd be fighting the top welterweights in the world still and having a realistic chance of winning? You would have laughed at that person for even suggesting that. Do you know what I mean? It's Pacquiao's career is absolutely incredible. It really is, man. It really is. We've just got to enjoy Manny Pacquiao while he's still here, because he is a once in a lifetime fighter. We'll never see anybody like Pacquiao again. Never. So, you know, you've just got to enjoy Pacquiao while he's still around, because his career has been fucking exceptional. World champion in the late 90s. That's when he first won his world title. I think it was 97, 98, whenever it was. And the fact that he's going into this fight in 2021, man, against Errol Spence Jr., arguably the best welterweight in the world, with a shot, is incredible. You know, Manny Pacquiao's just been an absolute servant to boxing. You know, throwback fighter. That phrase gets thrown around way too much in boxing in 2021. But Manny Pacquiao's a throwback fighter. So, all the respect in the world for Manny Pacquiao. Absolute lad. Mad lad. Gangster. I just can't speak about Manny Pacquiao in... you know what I mean? He's just such a great fighter. Big up to the Truth Son, by the way. Mate, hope you're well. Have a better weekend, man. Don't let the simps stop you. Some of us like swerves and curves. Indeed, man. It takes a real man to handle it, bro. You know? It takes a real man to handle it. So, big up to Truth Son. So, thanks for the contribution, brother. Much respect. Much respect. Helps the channel out, man. It really does. Really does. Are you serious, Alex Black, fighting Artem Lobov? Denis Berinchik? I know who he is. He's a Ukrainian guy. Is he actually fighting Artem Lobov? It's not on BoxRec. But yeah, big up to the Truth Son again, by the way. Oh, it's in bare knuckle, okay. Pac-Man is on roids, no doubt about it. Blew all of his money just fighting for paydays, nothing else. Needs the cash bad, feel sorry for him. I think Manny Pacquiao's fine, man, honestly. The guy's fucking trying to become president of the Philippines, man. He's got a lot on his plate. He's got a lot on his plate. As for the PEDs, I think most fighters are on PEDs, to be honest. So I'm not going to hold that against anybody. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to wrap this one up. It is 8 o'clock in the UK, 8 p.m. And I need to make my fucking dinner. So thank you guys for showing up. As always, much appreciated. I will do a post-fight review for Joe Joyce tomorrow. And maybe a couple of fights on the undercard. So look out for those videos. And yeah, man, enjoy your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And have a good one, guys. Peace.